Welcome to Friends and Fiction. 4 New York Times bestselling authors, endless stories. Novelists Mary Kay Andrews, Kristin Harmel, Kristy Woodson Harvey, and Patti Callahan Henry are 4 longtime friends with more than 70 published books between them. Together, they host Friends and Fiction, with author interviews and fascinating insider talk about publishing and writing, to highlight and support independent bookstores. They discuss the books they've written, the books they're reading now, and the art of storytelling. If you love books and you're curious about the writing world, you're in the right place.
Hi, everybody. It's Wednesday night, and it's time for Friends and Fiction. And I don't know why my voice is scratchy. Tonight is our season finale, and what an exciting night we have ahead of us with one of our favorite and your favorite authors. And we're going to have a super brief after show tonight, so be sure to stick around until the bitter end. Now, let's get rolling. I'm Mary Kay Andrews.
I'm Kristin Harmel.
I'm Kristy Woodson Harvey.
And I am Patti Callahan Henry.
And this is Friends and Fiction, 4 New York Times bestselling authors. And by the way, these 3 ladies here have all hit the list this cycle.
It's been so fun. As Sean would say, we all charted.
Yes, yes. Endless stories to support indie bookstores, authors, and librarians. And tonight, speaking of superstars, we're welcoming #1 New York Times bestseller, Elin Hilderbrand, to the show.
We didn't chart quite like Ellen, but we did our best.
No.
Well, we love this community. And as you know, since the beginning, we've been here to bring you author interviews and hot reads, all while also supporting independent bookstores. One way you can help us support indies is to buy from them when and where you can, or to visit our own Friends and Fiction bookshop.org page, where you can find Ellen's books and books by the 4 of us and all of our guests at a discount.
And speaking of amazing books, don't forget to join the Friends and Fiction official book club with Brenda and Lisa on their separate Facebook page. So the ladies just celebrated their 3rd anniversary last night with a big party on the page. We were all there. And you can join them in just a few weeks on August 17th for happy hour with Ron Block and a special guest at 7:30 p.m. And then again, just a few days later on August 21st at 7 p.m., our Kristy will be there to discuss the Summer of Songbirds.
Hooray.
Yay. And now, without further ado, let's get to our good friend, Elin Hilderbrand. Ellen, where are you?
Oh, wait. We have to introduce her. So Ellen is the New York Times bestselling author of more than 20 novels, including The Hotel Nantucket, Golden Girl, and 28 Summers, with sales of over a mere piddly 20 million copies worldwide.
Wow.
I know. She is a proud 1991 graduate of Johns Hopkins University, where she majored in writing.
So she attended the University of Iowa Writers Workshop, earned her MFA in 1998, and published her first novel, The Beach Club, in the summer of 2000. Her 2019 novel, Summer of '69, was her first to debut at #1 on the New York Times bestseller list, and she has managed to repeat that amazing feat for the past 3 years.
Wow. Ellen is the mother of 3 children and loves riding the Peloton, demonstrating her cooking prowess on her Instagram cringe cooking show, and of course, going to the beach. She will retire with her summer of 2024 book and plans on becoming a book influencer, starting with her new podcast, Books, Beach, and Beyond, which she co-hosts with our friend, Tim Ehrenberg of Mitchell's Book Corner on Nantucket. Her new novel, The 5-Star Weekend, was just released earlier this summer and rocketed to the top of the bestseller lists, occupying the #1 slot for 3 consecutive weeks and hanging on for 6 weeks now and counting. What a feat.
Yeah, amazing.
Hey, Sean, can you bring Ellen on?
Hello.
Hey, Ellen.
Hi, friend. Welcome.
Thank
It's so
you.
good to see you again. Your new book. We're just going to dive into it. Dive like a beach book. You dive into a beach book.
Let's do it.
We get it.
Your new book is called The 5-Star Weekend, and your protagonist, Hollis Shaw, puts together a 5-star weekend for friends from different phases of her life, with gorgeous meals, shopping trips, dancing at a famed Nantucket dive bar, even fireworks, which got me to thinking we're going to kind of chat amongst ourselves. What do you all think are the makings of your own personal 5-star weekend? Patti, how about you?
So I've been thinking about this literally ever since the first time you talked about it, Ellen, because you can't help but think, well, who are my five, like through 5 different decades? But for this, just for fun, I thought instead of choosing 5 friends from different decades, I'm going to choose 5 events, like 5-star events I would love to do.
That. That's good.
My family around a table talking over each other and eating amazing food. I'd like to have a water view if I can be picky. And this includes the little grandkids, and I don't care if they're making everything loud. Number 2, a large lawn under old oak trees with a river and a gathering of old and new friends mixed up, telling stories and laughing till our face hurts. Number 3, having a writing morning where everything clicks. You know, one of those mornings where it feels like, oh, I've got this. Yeah. Like that's a 5-star moment for me because it doesn't happen all the time. A long kayak ride with incredible views. And number 5, a trip to the English countryside where I can stay as long as I please with people I love. And I know I'll think of more, but those are my top 5 at the moment. How about you, KWH?
Those are very good. So I was sort of telling y'all before, this is really funny because y'all know, some of you know, a lot of you know, if you follow me on any sort of social media, you know that Ellen was very kind to help me launch the Summer of Songbirds in her Nantucket, and we had the most amazing events, and it was so fun. And so I was in Charlotte right when I got home, and I was staying with my best friend from like growing up school. And my best friend from babyhood was there, and my best friend from college was there. And so they were talking about the launch, and I was telling them all about Ellen's book and the 5-star weekend and how fun that was. And so fast forward, and we were talking about my best friend from adulthood and how she had gotten on the list to try to get us Taylor Swift tickets for Paris. And they were like, this is going to be your 5-star weekend. We're all going to go to Paris and see Taylor Swift. And it's your best friend from babyhood, your best friend from elementary school, your best friend from college, and your best friend from adulthood. And they were like, this is going to be amazing. So it was a really good plan, but we've been waitlisted for the Taylor Swift tickets. So stay tuned.
Do they not know who you are?
Maybe if she hears this, somebody out there make Taylor hear this.
All you Swifties, we need to manifest that.
Yes. Well, and they were the friends, so they all went and put on Taylor Swift because that was the night I hit number 13 on the list. And so they all put on Taylor Swift garb and made a video about how, you know.
That's awesome. Those are good.
It all came together but hopefully Taylor will hear this and just send us tickets to Paris, I would think.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, and because it's the show, she needs to send it to all of us.
Sure.
And because Ellen's here, she needs to send it to her. So
yeah,
done.
We can all go.
Luckily, we're all going to Paris, which is the perfect segue into what my 5-star weekend would be, because it would be in Paris. And so, so Kristy, obviously you're invited because you'll be there anyways for the Taylor Swift concert. I'll just plan it around the concert. But you guys, I used to live in Paris, and I miss it. I miss it every day. I do. I mean, I think I'm gonna try to go back this fall with Jason and Noah. It'll be Noah's first trip to Paris. He's 7, and that feels like a good first age to go. But it would be with friends in Paris. It would be my friends who I lived in Paris with. It would be friends from different times of my life. And it would not be that scheduled. We would just walk every day. We would walk around Paris because I think it's the most beautiful place to walk. It is the most delicious place to eat our body weight in food and then walk it all off. We would drink wine, and we would end each night at, I have a friend who owns a bar with a little restaurant next to it. Up in kind of like a little seedy neighborhood of Paris, but it's not a touristy area at all. It is a very typically French bar, only French people there. We would end each night there with my friend pouring us drinks, and it would be the perfect 5-star weekend.
Love it.
Okay, Ellen, what about your personal 5-star weekend?
Well, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I just used it in the book. So I thought to myself, you know, my happiest place is being on Nantucket in the summer. And so when I was writing the novel, I thought to myself, okay, if I was gathering everybody, what would I do with them? And it looks very similar to what Hollis does with her with her friends. I mean, you can't beat, I mean, Nautilus, where they eat on Saturday night, is my favorite restaurant. I can't get a reservation there. I mean, I have to pull a lot of strings. No, I know you do it. It is so great and so in demand. And the galley for lunch, there's nothing like it. Absolutely beautiful. A ride on the Endeavor on a Sunday afternoon, and then doing homemade pizzas and fireworks and the Island Kitchen ice cream truck. And the dinner that I have Hollis make on Friday night is a dinner that I make when I have company. So I really did
That's awesome.
use my own dream and put it in this novel.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Well, I would have to say that I just kind of put together, a great weekend for me. So that would be dinner with old friends on Friday night. And I had dinner with my oldest friends in St. Pete last weekend after we got done launching Kristy. A killer estate sale or an auction on Saturday with my best gay junking buddy, Clay. And then, because it's a fantasy, then we walk on the beach with Mr. MKA. We walked on the beach Sunday in St. Pete, and oh my God, it was so hot. Anyway, this fantasy, we're going to move that up to like probably November.
Yeah.
Then maybe, of course, because it's a fantasy, then we go to a hit Broadway show.
Yeah.
Preferably a musical with Meg Walker, because we always go to shows together. And dinner after at Sardi's, where we run into the star of the show. And they join us for drinks at Sardi's. And then, Sunday morning sleep in, don't write. Sunday morning brunch. Maybe I watch an old movie in bed, and then dinner with my whole family gathered around our dining room table.
Oh, I love it.
Mary Kay, I have an important question of
Yes.
detail, though. Is the
Yes.
star of the show Paul Rudd?
You forgot that part.
Wait, I didn't say it was 5 things. I said it was a 5-star weekend, meaning it was so fabulous. It got 5 stars. It was not a 4.4-star weekend, right?
Fair enough.
Right.
Fair
Right.
enough.
Or a 4.1 star. Those reviews where they say, I loved everything about this book. I'm giving it 3.8 stars.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
what? I loved everything. What was the 1.2 that you didn't love? Because obviously you didn't love everything.
Yeah. What could I have done exactly?
Best book I've read this year. 3 point. Yeah.
I know. All I can figure is that they're taking off points for my handwriting. I don't know. Okay, Ellen, let's dive into this great book, which I happen to have right here, the 5-star weekend. Tell us a little bit about the 5-star weekend. And then, of course, we want to know what it's really about.
So I'll tell you how I got the idea. The premise is that a woman loses her husband and she's lost at sea. She's bereft. She doesn't know what to do. And she's a food blogger, and she gained popularity during the pandemic and has lots and lots of followers. And she's savvy on her computer. So she's tooling around on her computer late at night because she can't sleep. And she comes across an article about a woman, another widow, who invented something called the 5-star weekend, where she invited one friend from her growing up, one friend from college, one friend from raising her kids, and one friend from middle age, and invites them for like a curated weekend. And she decides that's what she's going to do as well. The way I got the idea is that I have a friend who's a writer, a novelist, and a memoirist, whom you probably all know. She came to Nantucket in September of 2020 on a 5-star weekend. And she called me and asked me if I wanted to go for drinks. And I said yes. And it was still pandemic. So we had socially distanced drinks. And she told me about this weekend and how the friend that organized it had terminal cancer.
Oh, wow.
And was dying, but still felt okay. And so she decided that she would gather her best friends from throughout her life while she still felt okay. And they had this wonderful weekend on Nantucket. Well, the writer friend maybe didn't get along. There was some kind of friction within the group. And she was telling me about this. And I said, oh my gosh, that sounds like a novel. And she said, well, it's an Elin Hilderbrand novel. And so she gave me permission to write about it. And then there were certain things that she said I couldn't talk about. So I did not write about those things. I started out intending to write about a woman who was sick and was dying and did this. And then I thought to myself, this is too sad. It was just too sad. And it's a beach book and I didn't want to be a total downer. So I changed it so that it was that she was a widow.
Oh, wow.
Okay, great.
I like that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So, Ellen, one of the things that we think of, I think, when we think about you is the fans you have, just the legions of fans who are so dedicated. You're Hilderbabes, right?
Yeah.
And the bucket list weekends that you've been having on Nantucket for the past few years. But specifically, so we would love to know about those fans and those weekends. But specifically, we would love to know if it's true that a very twisty plot point in the 5-star weekend was inspired by two women who met at a bucket list weekend and discovered that they had something sort of alarming in common. So can you tell us a little bit about the group, the bucket list weekends, and also about that specific connection?
Okay, so the bucket list weekend started in January of 2015. Excuse me. And so I did 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and then 22, 23. So I did eight on Nantucket, and then I did 2 in Martha's Vineyard in the years that I wrote novels about Martha's Vineyard. And in the very first bucket list weekend in 2015, I was actually still being treated for breast cancer, and I had surgery like 3 days before. So I was on drugs and painkillers. And so it was all a little hazy. I mean, I got through it fine. I did all the bus tours back then. I did all the bus tours by myself and was, really super involved. At the end on Sunday of the bucket list weekend, the owner of the Hotel Nantucket, was in the ladies' room, and she overheard a confrontation. One of the women in the bathroom approached this woman and her daughter, and it turns out that the first woman's husband had an affair with this woman, and that this was his daughter. And they discovered this in the bathroom at the hotel.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
And the owner of the hotel came out. She grabbed my arm. She's like, I have your next novel. Okay, this is what's happening. I would not say it wasn't exactly how it went with my book. But there were certain elements, right, that I incorporated.
I love that. Oh my
It's
gosh.
actually amazing.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the Hilderbabes too. I mean, I'm just astonished. I think we've mentioned it before, but you have, at least during the summer, a regular thing on Wednesdays where people can come and meet you.
Yes. So I think one of the things about the Hilderbabes that's I'm actually a little bit bemused by it. Like, why me? But I really try to put out a consistent product. So every summer, and I live on Nantucket, and I write about a lot of the things that are in my life. So it's all super organic. And when people come to Nantucket to visit, they too can do the things that happen in my books. And then every Wednesday at 11, I sign at Mitchell's Book Corner. And so they're able to meet me. So it's something about the location. You're 30 miles out to sea. You're on this tiny island. Yep. I write about the island. They've read the books. That's why they're there. And then when they meet me in person, they just get super excited. And it's like a synchronicity of place and person and reading, right? So it's like all of that, in that I'm so associated with the place in which I live. So that I think that is part of what's responsible. But I mean, I have wonderful, loyal, devoted readers, and Nantucket never disappoints. And that's the thing. Yeah. And, Patti, you've been there. Mary Kay's been there numerous times. Kristy was there last couple of weeks ago. So Kristin, we got to get you out next year. For sure.
I've been there many times as a kid, but I have not been back as an author. So I absolutely need to get there.
And it never disappoints. I mean, it is unlike anywhere else in America. It has all of these distinctive features, and the 50 miles of beach that's open to the public, and the historically preserved downtown, and the cobblestone streets, and the window boxes, and the hydrangeas. I mean, it is so aesthetically pleasing. It is like Paul Rudd in island form.
Like if Nancy Myers made a movie and cast Paul Rudd.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Paul Rudd in island form. That needs to be Nantucket's new tourist motto. I love it, Ellen.
Oh my God, I love that. Oh my gosh. Well, I love that you told where the idea came from, because I love hearing where ideas came from. And sometimes I hear things like that and I'm like, I can't steal that. And now I'm like, yes, I can.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that real life stuff will work its way.
You let 8 years go by before you used it too, right?
No, well, it was, well, I mean, I used the plot twist, yes.
Yeah,
But as
yeah.
far as the writer who came, she came in 2020. And as soon as she told me the story about the 5-star weekend, I thought that is going to be,
Right.
that's
No, I
gonna
meant
be
the plot twist.
Yeah, the plot twist was 8 years. So I was at a dinner party last night and a woman told me this story. And I was like, I'm retiring, right? So I was like, okay, while in retirement, I am going to write the novel that this woman told me the story last night. I'm like, I am writing that novel. So when I say I'm retiring, I am retiring from my business plan, which is one Nantucket summer book every, June. But I am still going to write novels. And I did get a really good idea last night.
See,
I know. I always say to
great.
people, I'm a novelist, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to use this, right?
Oh yeah. No, I mean, just when you sit down at dinner with me, I always say like, you need to be really clear. If you say something and you don't want it in a book, you need to write a disclaimer. I will not put it in a book. If you say you don't want it in a book, you got to say it.
Right.
Yep.
Say it.
Especially, but people want to tell you. I mean, hairdressers, novelists, flight attendants, like they want to tell you a story because they know we're going to listen, really listen.
Okay. I have a question for you guys. Have you ever, because this happens to me often, I know it happens to every single one of you. People either email you or they message you and they say, you have to write a novel about my life.
Yes.
Right? This is what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So have you ever has anybody ever said anything sufficiently intriguing where you followed up?
No, it's mostly people who think that the very wrenching things that happen to them, although they're very real and they're, very, the things that happened were compelling to them. To the rest of the world, they're like, yeah, no, that happened to my aunt.
Right. Yeah. I mean, narrative, a novel has to have narrative continuity, drive, and it has to have all these elements. And so real people's lives actually don't fit. But every once in a while, you get a storyline, right? And you're like, oh, that could work.
Yeah, I was actually at a high school reunion a few years ago, and some women that I'd known since junior high, we were all sitting around my hotel room having drinks. And I said to one woman, God, I know you've had a long, drawn out, messy divorce. And one of her friends said, well, tell her what happened. And she started to tell me the story. And I went, hold on. Can I have this? And she goes, yeah, you can have it. And then the kicker is that after I put it in the book, 2 different women told me they'd had the same thing happen to them.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Well, I'm also glad to hear you're not, we'll talk about this later in the show, like not really retired. Yeah. All right. So we're going to talk about something else. So the 4 of us have been doing book launch events all summer. And the question has been asked, tell us about your absolute worst book event ever. Because when you look on Instagram, there's the crowds, there's the smiley people, but we have all suffered, even last week, maybe, through a terrible book event. So Ellen, have you ever had an event that's a horror story to share?
I mean, I have had so many, I can hearken back to, let's go back to the summer of, oh gosh, what summer would it have been if Dawson was a baby? Like 2002. And I got a book event and I was so excited, but I had to, my publisher at that time would not pay for me to go anywhere. So I had to pay for everything myself. So I had to pay for a flight off of Nantucket. I had to pay for the rental car. I had
it's hard to imagine now, but okay.
I know. I had a toddler at home. I had to get a babysitter for him. And I had a baby, Dawson, and he was like, I don't know, he was born in March. So he's probably 4 months old. He was still nursing. And I had to bring him with me. And so, I went to, and I think it was on the Vineyard, and it was one of these, like there are 4 authors at a table, and I had Dawson in his car seat under the table. And, I had I don't know, I sold maybe 5 books. And I kept having to get up, take Dawson upstairs to the little tiny bookstore bathroom to nurse him. I mean, it started there. And then, I mean, even as recently as, the fall of 2019, I did an event in Miami at Books and Books. And I think I had 12 people. And I walked into the room and, I'm used to having hundreds of people. I walked into the room, there were 12 people. I said, I don't think this is my event. I'm in the wrong place. They're like, Elin Hilderbrand? I'm like, yeah. They're like, no, this is you. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, Miami,
Yeah.
that's it. I can't ever come back because nobody showed up. And I was shocked. I was actually shocked at that point in my career, but it does happen, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes
So it looks like we're constantly, but there's, and I know there was, some people were posting it on Twitter and people were rallying, and I wanted to say, hey, it happens to all of us.
it happens.
All of us. Yeah. Yeah.
I think one of my worst was, I have a lot, and we told some the other day at a live event, but I was thinking about it today, and I remember, I forget where I was. It was a library somewhere, and they were taking down the sign with my name on it and putting up the sign with the next author while I was still right. So we go through these like minor cut humiliations. Kristy, what about you?
So I have to tell the one that I told the other day because it's the only one that still makes me like physically cringe when I think about it. The others, I'm just like, well, I've moved on. Like, it's fine. This one still makes me physically cringe. So I got to an event and it was on a tour where I was like, this is like happening. Like, people have showed up for my events. Like, things are finally getting good. And I go to this bookstore and it's like maybe 15 minutes before the event and there's not one single person there. And it's like an auditorium. And I'm like, oh, good. This is great. Fantastic. And so, about like 5 minutes before the event, I'm like, okay, well, obviously no one's going to come. So this is fine. I'm just going to sign your stock and I'm going to leave. Well, no. At the last minute, this one woman comes walking in. Like, which we all know, like, it's better if no one shows up. Because if one person shows up, like, they came out, you have to do a presentation for them. Yeah. So I sat with her and we chatted for like, 20 or 30 minutes. And she's a bookstagrammer. And so I knew her, like, from Bookstagram. So it was kind of okay because it was sort of like chatting with a friend. So I get in my car, I go back to the hotel, and like, that was terrible, but it's over, no big deal. And I get a notification from Instagram, and she has posted our picture and said, shame on all of you for not coming out. I was the only person at Kristy Woodson Harvey's event today. And I was like, oh my God. It's because like, it's just over. It's over. But then it's like, it lives forever on the internet. And like, I know it came from such a nice place. And she was like so complimentary and trying to be so nice, but I was dying. I was like,
oh my God, that's terrible. Well, I've got to say, Ellen, your story about Books and Books made me feel better because my story is also about Books and Books Miami, which is actually my first hint that perhaps it wasn't me. Like, maybe it's Books and Books. But I also shared this story in Tampa. It was right after I'd started dating Jason, who's my husband now. So it would have been early 2012. And I had an event at Books and Books, and Jason invited his parents, and the only people there were Jason and his parents. So that was I think it might have even been like my first or second time meeting my future in-laws at an event where I just had to talk to them at Books and Books. So good times.
That makes my stomach hurt. Like, that makes my...
that's the winner. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
It's the winner.
Well,
I'm still not sure they take me seriously as an author because of that event.
Yeah. I had a book signing in Pittsburgh once where my husband's sweet uncle was the only attendee until I'm sitting in this store in Pittsburgh suburbs, and random strangers start coming up to me to chat about the book. And then I'm like, what's that about? Then I figured out that his uncle had gone outside the store and was recruiting randos. Come inside.
What's even funnier is you're calling them randos.
To come inside.
Not random people, but randos.
Derelicts were coming inside asking me. And
it's probably like, here's $20. Go buy her book.
Oh my God.
So humiliating. Although, I mean, I did end up selling a couple books. So
yeah. That's
yay
awesome.
for Uncle Sky.
It's so funny. Well, Ellen, I keep telling everyone like who asks about how Nantucket was that I think the funniest thing is never having been to Nantucket. when I got there, it wasn't like I had this sense of like, oh, I'm in Nantucket. It was like, oh, I'm in an Elin Hilderbrand novel. Like, that's really how it felt. It was so funny. And it was like everywhere I went and everything I did, and I would see people and I'd be like, oh, well, she's like Brooke, or she's like Hollis, or she's like so-and-so. And it was absolutely hilarious to me to have that feeling, because it was not something that I really anticipated. And it was amazing. So, obviously, you know that your books have been called the very essence of the summer beach read, that you're the queen of the beach read, all the things, which is clear now that I have experienced, life basically in an Elin Hilderbrand novel. So I'm wondering what your very favorite beach is, first of all, and then what kind of books do you take to the beach?
Great questions. And I want to say, like, I also feel like I'm living in an Elin Hilderbrand novel. Like, today's Wednesday, so I did my Wednesday signing, and I came from bar class. I'm always in my workout clothes, and I parked my Jeep on Main Street, and then I like to come in from an angle so I can take a video of the line. And so I have to go up the opposite side of Main Street, and there are like the Bartlett farm truck and people picking out their tomatoes, and there's like people walking their dogs, and there's a big group outside of Lemon Press, people waiting for their lattes and their acai bowls. And I'm like, it is so aesthetically like charming. Yeah. And I'm walking.
I cannot wait to get there. I
just feel like I'm living in my own novel. This is so charming.
That's awesome.
But let's see, my favorite beach, I never ever say what it is. I'm not going to tell you the name of it, because it really is off the beaten path. Some people like to go to a beach where there are a lot of other people and a lot of action. I like the opposite. So there is a beach that is off the beaten path. It's on the Southwest shore. So it's an ocean beach, and it's never crowded. And so I love it. That is where I go when I have all day to myself. And then I read literary fiction. So I always say I read above myself. That is how I feel like the best way that I get better. I get sent every beach book known to man. But I read, right now I'm reading a novel called Hope by Andrew Ritker. I've read a bunch of great books this spring. I read Everything is Fine by Cecilia Rabas. I read Yellowface. I read You Are Here. I read Jane Delurie's Hedges. So I really read literary fiction. And I feel like when I read really, really good writing, like Maggie O'Farrell is one of my very favorite novelists. I think she's probably writing the best fiction in the English language. It helps me when I read really, really good writing. I try to elevate, and I get inspired, and I'm like, can I do any better? And so that's why I do it.
That's great.
Hamnet.
All right, now we've gone.
Book. Oh, sorry. Hamnet was my favorite book of the past, at least.
Oh yeah, years. So good. So good.
Yeah, Patty's a major Maggie O'Farrell fan.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to play a little game of 2 truths and a lie. We had a lot of fun with that at our most recent Friends in Fiction live event in Tampa. Not everybody guessed right, and we all had a lot of laughs. So Ellen, now it's your turn in the hot seat.
Okay.
You've already told me 2 truths and 1 lie about yourself. Sean's going to put up that graphic.
Okay.
And then it's up to us and our live audience out there to guess which one is the lie. So you all get ready to type your answers into the comments. And Patti and Kristin and Kristy and I are going to play along and take our own guesses. Okay. Have we posted the graphic?
There we go.
There it is. Okay. Ellen, do you want to narrate these?
Yes, I will. Okay. 2 truths and a lie with Elin Hilderbrand. Number 1, I've seen Taylor Swift 5 times. Number 2, I have never dyed my hair. Number 3, I was carried out of Everest Base Camp on the back of a Sherpa.
Those are fantastic. All right.
I'm having such a hard time. I'm like, what?
I am too. I find this very difficult.
Okay, so we're going to give people a minute to absorb the fabulousness of this. And what about if we come back in a minute or 2? Does that work for you all?
Yeah, like do the next question. Like, do you want me to do the next question?
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
okay. Fair.
Okay. Okay, so Ellen, we love your Instagram cringe cooking show.
Yes.
So we want to know if you could cook for anyone in the world, who would it be?
Hmm.
And what would be on the menu?
Okay, that's a really great question. If I could cook for anybody in the world, who would it be? There's like a sentimental answer. Well, I mean, I'm going to go with Bruce Springsteen. The one person that I would like to meet before I die is Bruce Springsteen. And I think I'm making him. So a week or 10 days ago, I made these, because it would have to be, I feel like it has to be simple for Bruce, right? I made these smash burger tacos, and cheese. It's basically like a cheeseburger and a taco get married, and it has white onion and pickles and special sauce on top of it. When I say it took 5 minutes, it was so easy and so delicious. And I feel like Bruce would really be down with it. And because it's summer, we'll throw in some fresh corn on the cob from Bartlett Farm, and my tres leches cake, which is my new favorite dessert. And I have loved Bruce since I was 15 years old, and he is just the person that I would most want to cook for.
That is a great answer.
Meg Walker. Meg, how many times have you seen Bruce?
She'll answer in the thing.
Let's see, she'll answer.
You know what, Ellen? You're going to have to post, maybe you already did, that smash burger taco recipe.
Oh, yeah.
It was in my, you know what, I'll move it to my permanent stories, because they were so easy. They were so easy. It took less than 5 minutes. And you know what, also like really economical, it's a tortilla, beef, piece of American cheese, and then those onions and sauce. And it was, you can probably do the whole thing for $3.
Okay, well, Meg is posting that Bruce lives near her.
Oh.
And she got veal shanks for ossobuco from the local butcher for Christmas Eve a few years ago. And they said, the butcher told Meg, Bruce had just been in to buy the very same meal.
Oh my so gosh.
Y'all are basically in love.
I'm going to see if I can find him at Christmas. Okay.
Yeah, she says she's seen him so many times, including her first concert as an 8-year-old in 1977.
Wow.
I played at Keenan Stadium when I was at Chapel Hill, which was really kind of cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. All right, should we go back and answer?
Yeah. Yes. 2 truths and a lie. Yeah.
My guess is 1. My guess is Taylor Swift.
Mine is number 1.
I'm going to go with 2, even though I just think that would be a weird thing to be your lie, but still I'm going with it.
Am I supposed to say what the lie is?
Yes. Yes, what's the lie?
The lie is number 1. I have, in fact, never seen Taylor Swift.
I've seen but Taylor how Swift is your hair that blonde?
How is your hair that
we're the same age?
Oh, yeah. No, my blonde hair. I don't know. I guess it's just being in the sun so much. I've never dyed my hair. I'm in
the sun so much too, and my hair doesn't look like that. And I was like blonde. That's amazing.
I did head and it didn't stick.
I have never ever colored it except when I dyed it green, like in 7th grade.
That's amazing.
Why are you not asking about the Everest Bates camp? On the back of
Let's get to the real. You're like, you don't dye your hair.
Tell us about your hair. Yeah.
So, my then boyfriend, then husband, now ex-husband, Chip and I backpacked all through Southeast Asia. And our second stop was we went to Nepal and hiked up to Everest Base Camp. And I got so sick. I had giardia. I was, it was so bad. I won't describe it. And eventually got so weak. It was 1 year after the Into Thin Air had happened. So actually the same doctors from Into Thin Air were at the little tiny hospital in Dingboche. And I got carried out of the mountains on the back of my Sherpa to this teeny tiny hospital. And the good thing is they were able to diagnose it not as altitude sickness, which will actually kill you. I just had a stomach bug, but I did have to go back down.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
All right. Well,
put that in a book. That's what I want to read about.
Okay. Now we're going to get back to Ellen in just a few minutes, but we have some quick announcements we need to share.
So everyone, it's not every year that all 4 of us have new novels being released, but this is one of those years. Kristin's, Kristy's, and mine have all been out in May, June, and July, and MKA's is coming this fall.
So we've already been in Columbus, Charleston, Huntsville, and Tampa together, and we want to extend huge thanks to all of our Friends in Fiction members for their amazing support at those events. This coming Tuesday, August 1st, we'll be in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina for a breast cancer fundraiser for earlier.org. So grab your tickets fast as they're running out. And last but absolutely not least, we will celebrate the release of Mary Kay's Bright Lights Big Christmas together in person this fall.
Can't wait. Okay, did you all know we just hit send today on the 150th issue of our Friends in Fiction newsletter?
It's crazy.
Today's issue had a great in-depth interview with Ellen and was chock full of other stuff too, including all our event details. So you want to visit the Friends in Fiction website to sign up and make sure that you're also signed up for our individual newsletters too.
Ellen, I have to say, I loved reading your interview. You gave us such a great long interview with hints about your next book. And I loved reading it. I got a text today from one of my neighbors that said, "Oh my gosh, that was the best newsletter, that interview with Ellen." I was like, what does that mean?
I mean, I've found, and you guys find too, if you put time and energy into something, it normally turns out pretty good. And I just really wanted to give it a lot of time, a lot of attention, and a lot of energy.
You really did. It was really great. I'm sure we'll be posting it all week because there was such good stuff in there. Made me laugh. And when I was reading about your next book, I was like, such a good idea. I want to ask her about that, but we're talking about 5-Star Weekend. All right. I also love talking about and reminding everybody out there about our Friday podcast, the Writer's Block podcast, because it's so incredible. And we've had some of the most fascinating guests. So don't just tune in tonight, like tonight on Wednesday nights. You can also find all 4 of us, plus Meg and Ron, interviewing all sorts of people in the storytelling world. We always post a link to the newest episode on the pinned part of the Facebook page. Or better yet, if you subscribe, you'll be notified with each new drop on Fridays. On the most recent episode, out now, Ron and I chatted with A.D. Rhine about Horses of Fire. You know, I'm a geek. I love mythology retellings, and this is one of them. It's about the women of Troy, and I loved it. And then coming this Friday, Ron and I are talking to Emily Habak about Shark Heart. Y'all, this book is getting all the buzz in all the world, and it broke my heart. It is the most beautiful book, and it's a debut. So y'all will want to listen to that.
She's the cutest too.
Oh my gosh, she's amazing. She was in TV and movies. She's smart as a whip. And this book is just so tender and beautiful. And so you'll want to hear that interview. So listen, review, subscribe, and share with a friend if you like what you hear.
Okay, last question, Ellen.
Yes.
We want to know about your exciting new podcast that you've launched.
Yeah. So I told our friend Tim Talks Books, my work husband, Tim Ehrenberg, I said, when I retire, let's do a podcast. And he said, yes, okay, perfect. Let's do it. And then when I was in St. John over the winter, he texted me and he said, I think we should just do it this year. And I said, I don't think you heard me. When I retire, let's do a podcast. And he really felt like the time was now. What ended up happening is Nantucket Magazine had a podcast that wasn't doing very well. And they have this beautiful podcast studio and they needed something to replace what they had. So Tim pitched it and they said, yes, they were all in. So they produced it. And what we decided to do, because I'm a slow reader and I can't do what you guys do. I can't do a book by book podcast because I just don't have the reading chops. And so what we decided to do was to get authors that everybody knew already, that everyone had read a lot of their books. I started out the podcast asks by emailing Colleen Hoover. And I said, Colleen, I know you're not doing any publicity, but I'm starting this new podcast. I really want you to do it. And she said, anything for you. And I was like, okay, perfect. Then I went to everybody else and I said, Colleen Hoover's doing my podcast. And then Taylor Reed, I emailed, she was on board. Kristin Harmel was on board. And we got Ann Patchett, and Ann Patchett is debuting next week. And so basically the idea is I think we're having 11 or 12 episodes just through the beginning of October. Not only are we having like authors that everybody knows, but we also have interviewed like Jenna Bush Hager. We did book influencers. My most exciting interview was with Gilbert Cruz, who nobody will know who that is, but he is the editor of the New York Times Book Review.
Oh.
And we asked him like a lot of great questions about the book review and how he picks the
I
books,
can't wait
how he
to read
decides what
that.
goes on the cover, and what he knows about the bestseller list, and all of the things that you ever wanted to ask the person behind, you know, the supplement in the New York
Oh my God,
Times.
that sounds great.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was absolutely, and it has been really, really gratifying and interesting. We have Jake Tapper. We interviewed Sunny Hostin. Like we have a lot of really cool people coming on. And Tim, of course, I make him do all the work. So he does all the research, comes up with all the questions, and you know, I just sit there and enjoy the ride. Really,
That's awesome.
Okay, now since you
We're
didn't
doing it
include-
wrong, you guys. We're doing it wrong.
I know.
not at all. I really, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. What you have created with Friends in Fiction is so astonishing. And I know you guys think that too. The community that you have built and the influence that you have is absolutely incredible. And I hope every single one of you just goes to bed every single night thinking like I made a difference, because I know how many people love this show.
Oh, that's very
Thank
kind.
you so much.
All right. Now you didn't include I'm retiring in the 2 truths and a lie. So tell us about the writing side of your life, because you're not truly going to quit writing.
Right. So when I'm retiring, what that means is that in 2024, my novel Swan Song will come out. Swan Song is my last Nantucket summer novel. In my business plan thus far has been one new Nantucket summer novel every year since 2000. And so I'm stopping that because I'm running out of ideas. That is the honest answer. I don't want to repeat myself. I feel it gets harder and harder every year because I have less and less territory to stand on because I've done everything. So 2024 will be my last book. I am bringing back some characters from people I've read about in previous books. It's his swan song. It's his last case. There's a fire and a missing woman. And, he's 3 days from retiring. And of course, then this falls into his lap and his daughter is involved. And so it gets a little dicey. And then after that, I have signed a 2-book deal with my daughter, Shelby. We are writing 2 novels set at a New England boarding school. The first book will be called The Academy. And then after that, I will write novels. But the great thing for me will be I will do it at my own pace.
Yeah.
I want to have 2 full summers where I'm not traveling, where I'm not promoting anything. And but down the road, like 2027, 2028, you may see another novel from me.
That's awesome.
Well, I know you just made a lot of people happy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you so much for being here, Ellen.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
We love having you
So
come
good
back
to see
anytime.
you.
Congratulations on
Ellen.
everything. It was so
Thank
good to see
you.
you.
Okay, Patti, I can't wait to see you in a couple weeks.
I will see you in Nantucket. I can't wait.
All right.
Thanks again for
Bye,
inviting
guys.
me.
Love you all.
Thanks, Ellen.
I never
Bye.
thank you enough. It was perfect.
Okay. So, I mean, what an evening.
Oh my gosh.
Don't
you're so
forget
funny.
that you can find all of our back episodes on YouTube. We have a 2-week break coming up between seasons. Hopefully then I'll regain my voice.
Oh, poor
We'll be
thing.
back on Wednesday, October 16th.
August 16th.
I'm sorry, August 16th.
I mean, that would be a really nice long
That would be a
break.
For our fall.
We miss it too much.
She already said it. October 16th.
We would miss it. You're right.
We'll be back Wednesday, August 16th for our fall season premiere. I'm going to let y'all finish because I'm losing my voice.
Okay,
Somebody
love
take
you.
over. Patty, you take over for me.
All right. So stay tuned to our Facebook page and Instagram feed because we will be revealing the fall lineup very soon. And you guys are going to go gaga. So don't leave, really. We're about to show the credits, but we are going to have a little bit of an after show and talk about what we're going to be doing.
And
And
Mary Kay, we won't make
somebody
you
has a
talk, but
birthday.
you have to be there.
You can't leave. Well, you can sit quietly, but you cannot leave. So thanks, y'all, for being with us. That was an incredible night. Good night, y'all.
See you in the after show. Thank you for tuning in. You can join us every week on Facebook or YouTube, where our live show airs on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Instagram. We're so glad you're here.
That was so fun. It was so nice to just try to chat about everything and not.
That was really fun. It was a really fun show. It's a great
I
way
knew
to
she wasn't really retiring. A writer writes.
Yeah. Yes. But I can definitely understand wanting to step off that treadmill. You know what I mean? Because I think she doesn't have time to breathe. She's either touring or she's busy drafting, and a book a year is a lot. I mean, we have all been on that schedule.
Years and years and years and years. It was 2. She had one book in the summer book for years and years and years.
Yep. Ooh. Even last year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's
okay,
smart.
so what's everybody doing with the next 2 weeks that we're off? Mary Kay, you're writing a book. I'll answer for you. Mm-hmm. I am headed back out on tour. I am really lucky. They're sending me back out for the Secret Book of Flora Lee, and it's all up north. So I'm going to Rhode Island. I'm going to Delaware, outside Boston, where I'll be with our pal Hank Philip Orion. I'm going to Cape Cod, which is my old childhood stomping grounds with Adrienne Brodeur. I'm going to be in Rhode Island with Deborah Goodrich Royce. So it's going to be an incredible week of hitting all the northern spots up there. Our dear friends at Browse About and Bethany Beach Books, and New Jersey, where I'll get to see Meg, and a little town called Point Pleasant. So that is what I'll be doing by the time I get back.
Isn't that where Jersey Mike started?
Is it?
Oh my goodness, I have no idea. Yes,
Meg said yes. Trivia.
Wow, you are just full of trivia, my friend.
Very funny.
You know, yeah.
Well, it's my dad's favorite restaurant, so I might have to go pay homage to Jersey Mike.
I have been to the Jersey Mike's #1 in Point Place, New Jersey.
Okay, well, I'm going to make that a goal.
It was also on tour, and I was very excited about it because I don't think and it doesn't sound crazy, but you know how sometimes you're on tour and you're going from one, you don't 100% know where you are. Yeah. I'm in New Jersey, but you're driving, and I stopped almost to where I was going. I don't know where I was going. I stopped almost where I was going, and it was the #1 Jersey Mike's.
Then I'm going to check it out.
Wow.
So if you guys want to see the #1 Jersey Mike's or me, you can where I will be. But I'm really excited because, the first week when you're out on tour, or the first couple weeks, you're so nervous about how it'll be received.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited because it'll be flat out fun. And I hope y'all show up to talk about it.
Yeah. I was in Point Pleasant when Molly, my granddaughter, was born. Katie was in labor with her, and it was early. I had planned my tour to be home when Molly was born, but I got double crossed. So I got the call that Katie was in labor, and I was like a pacing caged tiger. Oh. And so, of course, when the going gets tough, the tough go junking. And I went and I bought a sign in this little antique shop that says, no fishing, no diving, no crabbing. And it was from the Point Pleasant Bridge.
Oh, that's cool. Awesome. That's great.
Well, I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm not very sad to be leaving the heat of the South for a week.
Yeah.
So. But first, I'm going to Beaufort to see the you guys and Meg and Ron. So
I'm just going to go ahead and apologize. Normally, it's pretty cool here in the summer. I'm always oh, it's so cool here. And I go inland and I'm suffocating. It is hot.
It's
the forecast looked hot.
It's hot. And I am very sorry because normally I was I'm going to give them this nice, cool reprieve. Not this year.
No.
Well, we can't. I can't wait to be there. I love that town, and I can't wait to see y'all. Okay, what are y'all doing during break?
Well, yeah, you go, Kristin.
No. Good. Go ahead, Kristy.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping to finish my copy edits this week, and this is going to sound really ridiculous, but I got a new laptop for my birthday. And I was I'm going to finish my copy edits. And then as soon as I turn them in, I'm going to start my new book on my new laptop.
Oh,
so I'm pretty excited about that. But I'm going to the Hamptons, which I forgot about until you were talking about that. Yeah, for the East Hampton Authors Night. And my friend Marshall Watson is an amazing designer and has this beautiful house on the water in East Hampton. And he's having a dinner for me, which is so sweet of him. And I don't know, I'm probably doing some other things while I'm there, but I'm so excited. It's going to be really fun and cooler, hopefully.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Well, I'm going to be, as soon as we finish the luncheon on Tuesday, I'm heading to the airport to fly home because we leave the next morning for a family reunion in Nashville, which I've never been to Nashville. So we're looking
Oh my
forward
gosh, you've never been?
to Nashville. So this will be my
Oh
first
my
trip to
gosh.
Nashville.
Yay.
I'm so excited. And
Oh.
it's Jason's side of the family. It's a really big family. It's a fun group, and it's 4 nights. We have these condos side by side, and so like the whole family is all staying in these 4 different condos, and every night one of the condos is responsible for planning the dinner. So our
Great.
dinner, we're doing a cowboy and cowgirl theme. So I've been busy picking out like all of the decorations and like the cowboy hats, and it's gonna be so much fun. So
That's so fun.
yeah, it is a fun family to have family reunions with. So
That's so
we're
cute.
looking forward to that. And then a week after that, believe it or not, Noah goes back to school. He goes back August 10th, which is crazy. And also in the next few weeks, tomorrow actually, I'm getting my chemotherapy port out. So it's the thing that they give you the chemotherapy infusions through. And it's this permanent thing that stays in your body until they take it out. So taking it out tomorrow is going to feel like kind of closure on the treatment phase of everything I went through. So I'm excited about that. I'm not excited about the fact that I have to go into surgery tomorrow. That's not cool. But I'm really excited about closing the chapter on a difficult period in my life.
Yeah.
No.
So great.
Well, while you all are in the Hamptons and Nashville, I might run away to write. A friend has offered me her lakefront cottage. And Kristy, you got a new laptop. I have a new composition book.
Great.
That's awesome.
It's great.
So yeah, it's going to be nothing but fun for the next few weeks.
Kathy, do you come back and type your, like, I know you write in the composition books. When do you type it? Do you type it like at the end of the day, or?
Yeah, depending on how late it is. Like I got up at 6 this morning and typed some stuff that I had written yesterday.
Okay.
I'm behind schedule because we were on the road all day this past Monday. So I was in debt. So I got up at 6, wrote some, and then this afternoon wrote some more. And then I started drafting before I came on the show. So that's kind of what it's going to be like for me until I finish this book.
I think Tom should probably type for you. I mean, like, what else does he have?
What does he have to do?
Fair.
The busiest man we know.
I have to. And then tomorrow I'm going to a friend is taking me to brunch.
Well, why, Kathy? What is?
Because she misses me.
No, that's not the right answer.
We're going to push.
Celebrate.
My husband's taking me to dinner tomorrow night. And then Friday, I'm going to lunch with a very dear old friend, which means I got to write in between all those things.
Well, we're going to rat you out at the end of the after shows.
Yes.
So,
and we just want to let y'all know that there's a fall lineup announcement coming soon. And we're really excited. So stay tuned for news of a page takeover with a very big reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Big.
Yep. And back by pop. Yeah, absolutely.
Huge. 5-star.
Biggest season ever. Let's see.
I'm done.
Got me. Okay, back by popular demand. Sorry, I printed the script. I downloaded the script before the names were inserted in the end. Sorry about that. So back by popular demand, the Friends in Fiction name list swag. So those t-shirts you've seen people wearing, we all have them. And in fact, we were saying those of us who ordered t-shirts, we might order the sweatshirts. And those of us who order the sweatshirts might order the t-shirts. Those are back for a very limited time. You must order by July 31st to get in on this next wave. So Meg will share the link to the bonfire page to place your orders. And again, make sure you do that by July 31st, because that's the way Bonfire does it. When the campaign has ended, everything gets shipped out, and you have to wait for us to announce it again. So round 2, everyone gets your Friends in Fiction merch
Shirts. Okay, and I'm sorry to let the cat out of the bag if it's a secret. We are obviously the opposite person because I don't let anyone go around not knowing that it's my birthday. But we have a birthday to celebrate on our show. And I think we should sing to the birthday girl, don't you think?
Oh my gosh,
With
absolutely.
our beautiful voices. Okay. Sean, like cue up some background music for us. Okay. Ready? Happy birthday.
Sean should come and sing.
Oh yeah, come on, Sean. No, he hates when we surprise make him come on the show.
Get Meg on here. She needs to sing.
Yep.
All right, come on, Meg. Come sing.
Come on, Sean, if you want
Sean,
to.
you're an optional singing participant if it suits you.
We won't make you. There we go.
There he is. Yes. He's the one among us who's actually a professional singer.
Okay, Meg, I had to mute you. I'm so sorry. Your mic was picking up stuff. Okay.
Okay, Sean, will you lead us in song since you're the actual singer?
My son.
Okay. So first of all, I can hear it on. What I like to do before we start singing is sing the opening of ha. Now everyone knows we're going to sing on the same page. Ha. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday. There's different time goes.
Yeah. I don't think there's any way to do it on a Zoom. Because it's all like the timing's off.
Happy birthday,
Dear
birthday.
Happy
birthday to you.
How old are you now?
We lost all of our viewers. They all just dropped off.
They're like,
Yeah.
Yeah. This is where my father's favorite bad joke comes in. What did you do with the money?
Hey, I think you need to tell a joke before we get off. I think you have a really good joke, and we will end the night with that.
Can't tell those.
It's not the dirty one.
The divorce one.
No, I'll tell the clean one.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You want to hear it? Okay. Do you all know about Divorce Barbie?
No, tell us.
Well, when she comes with all of Ken's shit. Bum.
Oh. All right. Good night, everyone. What an
Love you guys.
extraordinary night.
Happy
We'll
birthday.
happy birthday. See you
y'all in 2
soon,
weeks.
everybody.
Thank
See
you.
y'all in a couple